Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, you started something Thursday hosting. That's cool. So you decided to come. I didn't like totally offend you. That's good. That is good. Who else here has seen me before? Like almost everyone except you guys. You're like, some bitch on stage with a mic, let's do it. Did she make you do this? Yeah, 100%. He's not like, let me go hear a woman speak for an hour. Like, no fucking way. Absolutely not. So yeah, who here has been to a preview before? Anyone? No. No one really. Have you? You said?
Edinburgh Fringe, but I live in Edinburgh, so sometimes it'd be like people testing out.
You could just say yes. It was just a really simple... Yeah. No, that's cool. So what a preview is, for anyone who doesn't know it, it's basically like I'm working out for Edinburgh Fringe, right? You work on the show throughout the year. You do little previews like this with kind of like not very full crowds, and you just try out jokes and you go, are these funny? Should I include these? Should are they racist? Should I take them out? Whatever, right? Whatever happens, you just gotta go with it. So how it helps me is if you like something, you laugh at it, and if you don't laugh, but don't be too mean or I'll kill myself. Like, just basically. And if you have, a bunch of you have seen me before, so if you've seen me and you're like, oh, I know this joke, just fucking act like you don't, right? Because most of it you haven't heard, so just pretend we'll just be completely fresh. And you guys are super fresh, so I better fucking hear some big laughs over there. And then at some points, like the whole idea of like an hour at Edinburgh, you give a little story. So it's a lot of comedy. There are some occasional serious bits, but don't worry, I get really quickly back into dick jokes very shortly after that. So you're not going to leave here all like depressed and stuff. Does that all sound good?
Yeah.
Cool. So I'll just give you a little rundown of like who I am and how I got to be on the stage in front of you. Some weird fucking Canadian over here. I moved over here a few years ago. I love it. I think my favorite thing about living over here is that everyone over here loves to walk their children on leads. Get the fuck out of here. That is the best shit I've ever seen in my life. Have you ever seen that? Like the moms out there like walking their kids like this and she's just like fucking Caspian and she yanks it and there's just some chubby ginger shit goes flying and she's just like, I can see in the back of her head she's going, I wish I had an abortion. Also, if you are easily offended, you should go because that was tip of the iceberg right there, that kind of stuff. So just so you know. I have a really hard time over here distinguishing between the accents, and I know a lot of people, they hear mine and they just think because I'm loud and I'm a cunt that I'm definitely American. But as I said, I'm Canadian, I'm not. But I cannot tell the difference between any of the accents over here. Like I cannot. You all sound like the Queen to me. And I'll give you an example where this has come back to bite me. So I have a day job, right? Because this is going very well, as you can see by the fucking sold out O2 we got going on here. And I have a day job, and I was interviewing this guy, and he was lovely, right? I completely fell in love with him. He was all dressed up. He had a little like cardigan over his shoulders. He was so sweet. We talked about his poodle named Henry and how he grew up riding like ponies and horses. And I told my boss, I'm like, oh my God, we absolutely need to hire this guy. He's this adorable little gay guy. He's gonna be a perfect fit for the team. My boss welcomes him to the company over a Zoom call, and after a few minutes of being on the call, they hang up, and my boss is like, are you stupid? He's not gay. He's posh. And I was like, what the fuck? We talked about poodles and ponies and shit. He goes, yeah, he's a fucking Tory, man. Like, that is the shit they talk about. Because, like, a gay guy wearing a cardigan over his shoulders, that's adorable, right? But, like, a straight Tory man, get fucked. Like, you're a douchebag. Absolutely not. I do think I moved over here because I didn't get enough hugs as a child. So I was like, where could I go and date emotionally repressed men? And I was like, I know, the UK. Let's go there. Let's date these fucked up men, right? I think general people over here are really emotionally repressed, but it allows me to get away with absolute murder. I can get away with whatever I want because no one will do anything. Like, I'll be in line at a coffee shop and I'll just stand in front of everyone and be like, I'm here now. People just go, ugh, and they fucking freak out. And the most they'll ever do is look at one another and be like, that's it. That's all they'll ever do. It's amazing, the power. And then they go, fucking Americans. And I'm like, yeah, they're the worst. It's beautiful. I love it. But the thing is about like emotionally repressed men over here, right? Is like they are all buttoned up until you get them into the bedroom and then they go nuts, right? Because as soon as you get them in the bedroom, they're like, let me tell you what I'm into. And I'm like, whoa, relax. can I take off my fucking coat? Like, Jesus Christ. I went out with this one guy. And he was just like, he was crazy, right? He wanted to tell me about his kink, but he was kind of building it up and he wasn't really telling me what it was, but it was gonna be something wild. And to me, I need to hear what it is, right? Because I just need to hear the end of the story. Because what's vanilla to one person might be wild and crazy to another, or vice versa. And I'm just a very curious person, so I'm like, I have to hear what he's about to say. And he's like, oh, if I get going, like I'm gonna, if I get going, I'm like, what are you gonna do to me? I was like, at one point, I swear to God, it felt like he was gonna wrap me in a plastic sheet, kill me, and fuck me in that order. And I'm probably like not that into that, but like, never say never, Like, I don't know. I've never tried it before. I've never tried being killed and fucked before, so you never know. But he was like bigging it up, and I was scared, but then my vagina had a heartbeat, and I didn't know how to handle that. Like, do you know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about. You know the vagina heartbeat, right? Where it's just like, even in a dangerous situation, for anyone who doesn't have a vagina or has never felt it, have you ever put a Band-Aid around your finger too tight? Do you know what I mean? And the tip of your finger is just like, boom, boom, boom. That's what happens. I can be in terrifying situations, and I'm like a super soaker going, I have no idea why my body is betraying me like this. So after this whole thing, and after bigging up, like, oh, if I really get going, I might spank you. That's what he says to me, that he might spank me. I'm like, yeah, man, so did my dad. Like, I don't know, but that's just fucking weird, man. It's the same thing, like, I don't know. Like, just people are wild, right, about kinks and stuff. I don't know if I have a kink. I definitely have a something. I don't know if it's a kink. It's somewhere on the spectrum of, like, kink or disability. It's somewhere within that range, right? Somewhere, I don't know. It's either like I need to be on a fetish website or I need a sunflower lanyard. I don't know where on that fucking spectrum I need to be. My thing is that I only fuck poor men. I love them. I don't even know what it is. The moment I see an Android phone, I'm like, I go fucking nuts. And if their screen is cracked, we are raw dogging for sure. The only thing that's better than the guy whose screen is cracked is someone who has a cracked screen and then they put a screen protector over the cracked screen. That is like throwing a fucking condom at a baby's face. Like, it's too late, man. It is too late for the protection. Another thing that I thought has been neat about living here is that you all love stabbing people, which has been kind of neat for me, but I never used to think anything of it. I used to walk around kind of late at night without a care in the world. I walk down dark streets, I gig, I'm out all the time, and I never thought anything of it because I used to be like a lot bigger. So in the last couple of years, I've lost like 13 and a half stone, which is, which is a lot. And I used to walk around like without a care because I was so big that I was like, yo, if anyone's gonna kidnap me, that's gonna take a plan. Right? I went on one of those websites to be like, how much did I lose? And they'll be like, oh, you lost 2 pounds. That's 2 sticks of butter. And I looked up, I was like, how many sticks of butter was I? And they were like, fun fact, at your biggest, you were bigger than a giant panda. Who is that a fun fact for? That is my 13th reason. That is traumatizing right there. Jesus Christ. I'm like, I just want to know how many fucking sticks of butter I was. And they're like, oh, you were like 40,000 sticks of butter. But I used to walk around without a care in the world, right? Because it would take, if you're going to kidnap me, it would take 3 guys, a van, a ramp. Like, that is some premeditated shit. And if you want to work that hard for me, like, I'm flattered. Feels nice to feel wanted. You know what I mean? Halfway up the ramp, and they're just sweating and having a cigarette on the side, being like, this was a fucking mistake. We shouldn't have taken her. But now I'm a lot smaller and I don't eat much anymore, so I'm all weak and stuff. I mean, I eat ass, obviously, because 0 calories. I'm like, num, 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 right? It is the best. It's still on the diet plan. It's excellent. But I do think about my own mortality and stuff, but I think about it more than ever when I'm like in line at a self-checkout. Like, I don't know if you guys have caught yourself in one of those front-facing self-checkout cameras. Those things are awful, right? It's the worst lighting at the worst angle. It's just double chin city, and you're like, Like the absolute fucking worst things in the world, right? And every time I catch myself in one of those, all I'm thinking is if I go missing when I leave this shop tonight, this is the fucking footage they are gonna show on the Daily Mail tomorrow. Like, have you seen this woman? Ugh! Fuck no, but like, keep her. Jesus Christ. Someone wanted that? Fuck. Desperate times, I guess. It's almost a recession, so I mean, I get it. A bit, like, because that's not how I want to go out. They're not gonna find me if I get kidnapped, right? Just let me go out how I want to go out. Like, let me go use my Instagram photos that I photoshopped the fuck out of for the last few years, and let me be remembered as the young, beautiful Korean girl that I have put out there in the world. I'm gorgeous on Instagram. I don't want the real deal. So yeah, I was a lot bigger. I was a fat kid too. Like my whole family's big, and I grew up as this like very fat kid. And I remember my doctor being like, "You need to lose weight or you're gonna die." And I was like, "Sick. Can I get one of those Make-A-Wish things? Because those look fun." And he's like, "No. You're not gonna die now, but like if you keep going the way you're going, you're gonna die." And I was like, "How much do I need to gain to get to Disneyland?" Asking for a friend. He was not super impressed by that. I grew up in kind of like a weird family, like a working class family. I don't know if anyone else is like, I mean, we don't really have we don't say working class in Canada. We don't really say that. We just say you're fucking poor and and sad a lot. We're all just poor and sad, and we're pawning shit to pay bills, basically, is how that works in Canada. But that's how we grew up. We grew up in like just a kind of a poor family and everything. Really weird. I had a quirky kind of growing up. I had my mom, my dad. My mom is quirky. That's what we call someone who has mental health issues but have never been addressed before. So we call her quirky. I hear you can medicate quirky, but she's got to be on a wait list first to see a psychologist, and she won't do that. But she also thinks she's psychic, which is a neat thing. It is crazy. She's right 100% of the time. I mean, she only tells you after the thing has happened, but her accuracy is impeccable, right? I'll be like, "Hey, yeah, I broke up with Matt," and she'll be like, "Yeah, I know." Like, cool, why didn't you tell me he was married then? Like that. Be a pal, how about that? And if you are psychic, why do you clap when the fucking plane lands? And my brother, who grew up with Celine Dion posters all over his wall, she was like, "You're gay?" World's worst fucking psychic, I'm telling you. But then my grandma, her mom, she actually was the one who sort of in the house is like the one who raised us and stuff. And she was like very like old school grandma. Not like a cool grandma that's like, "I got sweets in my pocket and like fucking here's a $5 or whatever." My grandma was like disciplinarian, did all the household stuff, very like meat and potatoes, old school wartime grandma. But she had this really weird thing that she did in our house that I never thought was weird until I started telling other people, and they're like, "Ooh." You know, have you ever done that? Have you ever had a story where you're like, "This happened in my family, blah, blah, blah," and people go, "Oh my God. Are you okay?" And then you're like, "Am I okay? Was that fucked up?" It is the wildest thing, right? Like, so she used to do this thing, like, keep in mind, working class, small household, right? She used to do this thing where she would write us letters as if we lived in some mansion, like in Elizabethan times, like, "Dearest Catherine, blah, blah, blah." Right? It wasn't like that, though. It would go, "Here are the ways you've disappointed the family." That is wild, right? Just letters of disappointment that she would send out. Like, I broke into the liquor cabinet once, and just, you know, like old school, right? You take a water bottle, and you're like, "I'll put in some peach schnapps, a little brandy in there, some red wine," just a little bit off of everything so no one notices, and it just creates like a petrol in your throat. Like, it'll fucking burn you on the way down and the way up, which it definitely is coming up after. I got a letter for that, for sure. I got like a half a page, like, "You're a piece of shit" letter, right? My sister went out and got a tramp stamp of like a neon green 4-leaf clover because of our Irish heritage. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure Grandpa's really proud of the new fucking target you put on your back there, girl. You're really representing the family well." Oh, her letter, pages long, right? Just pages long, right? My cousin, she was one of those, I didn't know I was pregnant until she was like 7 months along. I mean, we all fucking knew she was pregnant. I was like 12 and I was like, that bitch is fat. She's definitely pregnant or something, right? But when my grandma found out, like, it was a novel. It was a novel, the letter she got. It was the weirdest fucking thing. But we had this weird letter writing thing. It was just like a bit of a weird energy to grow up with. I think the one good thing about my mom and stuff, she's a little bit nuts, but she's never really pressured me to have kids or start a family. I think she found the entire experience like pretty disappointing herself. So she's never put that pressure on me, right? Which is good, because I feel like I give off like stepdad energy. Like I'm like, not exactly, like someone's second stepdad too, not even their first. Not even the first one that they kind of got along with, but the second one that's like, you're not my dad. Just shut the fuck up. They're not the ones who pressure me, right? It's not my parents and stuff. It's my friends. Because, like, I don't know, how many of you guys are the age where your friends are starting to have kids and do all that kind of thing? Yeah, right? Like, and it happens, and they want you to fucking hold their kids and shit, and they'll be like, oh, like, hold my baby. And I'll be like, okay, cool. And they always go, that looks good on you. That looks really good on you. And I'm like, I know, man. So do 2 black guys. But, you know... Just because something looks really good on me doesn't mean I have the energy to deal with it every single day of my life. If I did, I'd choose the black guys, for sure. Not your fucking baby. My friends also do this thing where they're always sending me photos of their baby. Not like, I'm like, just fucking text them to me so I can delete them. Like, do that. But they send me, like, in the post, like, actual photos of their baby and postcards and stuff. And you can't be the asshole that bins them, right? You cannot be that person. So what are you expected to do? Just, like, put them up? Do you know how psychotic a single woman in her 30s looks? She's like, here's my wall of babies. Like, you look fucking mental. It didn't help that I, like, put red yarn connecting them all and shit. But you look psycho. And I was like, I know what I'm gonna do. I have a good idea, right? I'm gonna save them up, and then once a year, I will post them to all my ex-boyfriends. With a Father's Day card. If you wanna know how to pay your rent fast in this city, that shit is better than OnlyFans. Like, I am telling you, that works. It'll be like a black guy getting a fucking ginger baby. I don't care. Here's my child support. Like, he's like, they just don't even fucking, they don't ask questions. They just wanna fucking pay you out. Yeah, it was weird though, like growing up, because I was like this chubby kid and stuff, and then obviously like this kind of like fat, awkward teenager, the kind who was like in drama club, but like I had the crush on like, not like the lead in the play, but I had the crush on like the tech guy. Just like, do you maybe want to go out with me? You don't? Okay, that's cool. Yeah. Cool, me neither. But I was just like that fucking awkward, weird kid, right? But I was like, I became maybe like infatuated with like, movies and Disney and stuff, and I became this complete like hopeless romantic. Like, I'm the type of person who loves the idea of couples getting matching tattoos. Isn't that mental? Isn't that crazy that I think I think it's a better idea now than I did even back then. Even in those moments where you're like, I know this is a bad idea, we're so dumb for doing this, but I love you so much, baby, let's fucking do it. Like, that is the kind of love that I want to have, right? I want to have matching tattoo kind of love. And I'll tell you why I believe in it now more than ever. So I always thought, right, how they remove tattoos was they put a laser on it, and it hits your tattoo, and it just, like, vanishes into thin air, right? Like my dad. Like, just gone and whatever. My dad hates that joke so much. I'm always like, relax, Bill. We know you're at home drunk every night. Don't worry. I know exactly where you are, my man. But that's not what happens, right? For tattoo removal, the laser hits it, the particles break down, they re-enter your bloodstream, and then they go out through your waste system. How poetic is that? So what happened? Okay, so you get a matching tattoo with your partner, and if you're together and you fucking die when you're 100 years old, mid-penetration at the same time, that's a beautiful love story, right? Like, that is amazing. And if you break up, you literally get to shit them out of your body when you get it lasered up. Tell me what's better closure than that. Be like, bye-bye, motherfucker, flush. That is beautiful to me. So I'm just saying, you all need to get tattoos of the people you're with. Should you guys how long have you guys been together?
2 years.
2 years? And do you have matching tattoos? You have talked about it. Yes. Oh my God. Can you please fucking do it? Why don't you get my name tattooed on the both of you? So then it's safe, because then if you break up, you'll both just have Kate on you. Don't you think that's a fucking good idea? I think it's a great idea. So I came up, I was like this fat, awkward girl. I had like kind of like no real self-esteem either, but then I was like this hopeless romantic. It was a fucking mess, right? And then I started partying and drinking, and I was like, oh, is this how you get confidence? Let's go. I can talk to anyone. Right? And I was crazy. And then like after school, you know, and stuff, you have your first real job, so you're making money, and I'm just fucking blowing my money. Like, what savings, retire? Who cares about that shit, right? I'm like drugs, alcohol. I spent my money on the dumbest shit possible. Like, just wasted it entirely. I once woke up with a pair of Mickey Mouse gloves beside me in bed. Like the giant white Mickey Mouse gloves. Because when I was fucked up, I was like, this is a great idea. These one day will come in handy, and future me will thank me. And just absolutely like a lunatic. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. But I did like all the dating apps and stuff, trying to find Mr. Right. Like, I was like Hinge, Bumble, Uber Eats, like fucking Uber Eats was my favorite for a long time. Trying to fuck a delivery guy. Fucking dating apps, man, they're the worst. There was a guy on there that I saw, and he's like, I work in fashion. And after talking to him, you know what he does? He's a cashier at H&M. Like, you're not wrong, but you're not right either, buddy. You're definitely not right. Another guy I saw, he wrote, because men are so fucked on these profiles, right? Another one he wrote, I'm brutally honest. That's what you get when you date me. Somebody who's brutally honest. As if that's a selling feature. As if, do you want to date somebody brutally honest? No, right? No, you fucking don't. Don't even say probably not, right? I'm the same. I want someone who's going to go, you have the tightest pussy I've ever fucked. Right? I want someone who's going to tell me I have the best body they've ever seen. Like, I don't give a shit. Lie to me. Tell me she's not your wife. I don't care. If I wanted to date somebody brutally honest, I date my mother. Thanks. Like, absolutely not. There's always the guys on there, too, that are like, let me be devil's advocate here for a second. I fucking hate those guys, right? You're shaking your head. The devil's advocate people are the worst of humanity. No one cares what you have to say. My brother-in-law is one of those. He's like, let me be devil's advocate here. Let me be devil's advocate here. I swear to God, he is the guy that goes on Pornhub and would comment under porn videos. I swear. It's that same energy, right? And he would go on under like, Kitty gives him a BJ in her 2-story condo, and he'd be like, "Let me be devil's advocate here. I don't think she could afford a 2-bedroom." I hate that. I hate people like that. That, to me, those guys give me the same energy as the girls that go, "I'm just not friends with other women because they're too much drama." Bitch, no, do not trust a woman who says that. If a woman is ever like, I'm not friends with other women because they're like jealous and too much drama, that is the woman who's gonna light your house on fire and laugh in the flames. Like, she is mental. Like, you absolutely can't do that. But I was so fucked up. I was super like into like toxic shit too, right? And like these toxic fuckboys, and be like, oh my God, this is so romantic. Like, whatever. If there was like Jesus turned water into wine, I was like, oh, this fuckboy said something messed up. I'm like, that's so romantic, right? He'd be like, you're like not super hot, so let's keep this a secret, okay? And I'm like, oh my God, this is like Romeo and Juliet. That's kind of fun, right? I dated one guy, and he's like, if you ever cut your hair, I'm gonna dump you. And I was like, oh my God, this is like Rapunzel. That's so amazing. Or the time my boyfriend tried to finger me in the back of a cab when I was passed out. I'm like, oh my God, Sleeping Beauty, hello. This is amazing. Fairy tales come true. It's just fucked up, man. And like, because I was like, just wanting like so much validation from fucking everyone, and men specifically, because I'd grown up with none of it, right? So as soon as a man would give me attention, I'd fucking do whatever, right? And I had like no real confidence in myself, whatever. I wanted to start comedy like 12 years before I actually started it, because I had no confidence, and I was like, who's gonna want to watch some fucking fat girl on stage talk for an hour? And I was like, how fucked is that, right? Because I had like no confidence in myself. And you guys are, a lot of you are like younger than me. Mostly. It's kind of dark in here. You might just have really good Botox, but like, but I like had no confidence in myself until I start like, and I mean, you're not supposed to get it from somebody else, but like I did meet one nice guy in all of these. I guess like you kiss enough frogs, right? Like you fuck enough fuck boys, then you're gonna find a decent one. So I found this one guy, and he was actually quite nice, and he was lovely, and he fucking adored me, right? He would do all this stuff for me. He was like madly in love with me. And I was like, oh, something is not quite, the math is not mathing. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, something's not right. You know when somebody can like be perfect for you on paper, but it's just not working? But in my head, I was like, who am I to be the type of person to turn down this guy who like loves and adores me to bits? Right? Who am I to go, this isn't enough for me? Considering I thought myself, like I was like, oh, I'm a fat piece of shit. I don't deserve anything. Like I don't even deserve to be treated well by anyone, right? So then I'm going to turn around and say that I deserve more than this guy who's like sweet and handsome and like, you know, he's going to do all these things and wants to build a life with me, and say that I'm better than this. It was so fucked. It was like the most fucked up place to be, right? And I didn't know what to do about this. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get a divorce. We'll just get a divorce later. We started planning our wedding, and I was like, I'll get a divorce. No joke. Isn't that messed up? How crazy is that? And like, the only thing I can compare that to is like, so a friend of mine was talking to me about post-nut clarity the other day, right? And how men will like, literally, they'll fuck a woman and be like, I wanna build a life with her. And then as soon as they nut, they'll go, ugh, this is a mistake. Whereas women will go head first into a situation and go, this is a mistake. I'm walking towards it right now. Like, I wish I had post-nut clarity to blame, but I was like fully going into a fucking bad decision, right? And I just was like, didn't know what to do. And then I was out at this like art fair, and I saw this giant sign that said, be careful where you're headed or you'll end up where you're going. Right? That's fucked though. Isn't that crazy? It's sort of weird. You're like, you know, but it's true. A lot of people are like, oh, I wonder where I'll be in like a few years or whatever. But the reality is, like, all the decisions you're making today, you're literally walking down the path to where you're going to be. And it's so crazy to think of. So I was like, oh my God, I'm like living with this guy. We're talking about like, would we get married or whatever? But in my head, I'm like, we'll just get a divorce. And I'm like, I don't think I want that. Like, I don't know what to do. And he was a really nice guy. And here's the thing. A lot of people are gonna come for me and they're gonna be like, that's what happens. Nice guys finish last. Shut the fuck up. The only one who calls himself a fucking nice guy are assholes. Like, you cannot self-award your fucking self that title. Because it is always the guys who are like, I was nice to a woman for 3 minutes and she didn't suck my fucking dick. You're not a fucking nice guy, bro. Like, we could see your acting's not that good. No BAFTAs for you, motherfucker. Like, Jesus. And it wasn't that he was a nice guy. It just he wasn't like my guy. You know what I mean? So I was like, I don't know what to do, because I'm afraid that if I break up with him, that's it. I'm afraid that like I will never find anyone who actually cares about me like this. And then I was just like, fuck it, I have to do it. And I don't know what it took in me, but I just said, fuck it, and I broke up with him. My mom called me and she goes, you made a huge mistake. You're never gonna find anyone who's gonna love you. And I was like, bitch, well, if you had told me you saw this coming a few years ago, maybe we could have avoided this whole fucking thing, psychic. Like, Jesus. And then I was just like, fuck it, what am I waiting for? And I decided, I started comedy because I was like, even though I'm still like this big girl with like not a ton of confidence, the place where I've never lacked confidence, I will say, is in the bedroom. And I think that's just because from being a big girl, like the one thing a big girl knows how to do is use her fucking mouth. You know what I mean? I can suck a dick dry. Like I am great at that. I know I'm good in bed. So I was always super confident in bed and stuff like that. So I started comedy, and then I moved to London, and it was great. Like the comedy allowed me to like, I sort of was able to kind of disassociate, and anytime I was on stage, I'd be like the super confident version of myself, but then I'd go home and be like, I'm a piece of shit, I hate myself. And it was this fucked up thing to do, right? Where people had no idea that I wasn't super confident, right? I remember talking to just a colleague of mine, and they're going, "You're so confident on stage. Is this real?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's real." It's super. You know those memes where someone's like, "I'm fine." And like they're like that was me. Like I was like, "Yeah, I'm super confident," but like not fucking confident at all. I just like, because the thing is about being like, someone who's bigger. And I don't know if anyone in here has ever like experienced that or whatever. It's not even the things you think. Like you literally, people will shout that you're fat at you. I remember making out with this guy outside a club, like real sloppy, hot mess kind of like make out. You know those kind where you're outside the bar and you're like, this is the best decision ever. And you're like shirts up and you're like this. And I'm like, whatever. Like I made out with this guy and he's like, "You're so beautiful." I'm like, "Yeah, tell me I'm beautiful." Like just such a fucking mess, right? Me wearing my Mickey Mouse gloves. And then these guys walked by and be like, "Look at that fat bitch." And I got so upset, I started crying. He's like, "No, don't listen to them, you're so big." And I'm like, I couldn't, right? It's fucking so shitty to be a bigger person. I think the things we see is like, oh, you'll see bigger people in TV and movies, right? They're always the side characters. They're the ones that are the punchlines. They never get asked out by the guys, that kind of thing. That stuff happens a lot. But it's not even that. Like being bigger and struggling with it is like, it is death by 1,000 cuts, I'm telling you. It is like getting in an airplane and being afraid that the person beside you is going to be so furious that they're sitting beside a big person. I've had someone go, "I'm not sitting next to this," to me before. I'm like out to my face to a flight attendant going, "This is disgusting. I'm not sitting beside this." Like just as if I'm some fucking thing. And me having to be like, "Can I get a seatbelt extender?" Like I can't. It's humiliating stuff, right? Like clocking on a date or something. Someone shows you to a booth. I'm going, "I can't fit in there." And you just go, I still have that. Like now at this size, first thing I think when I see a chair, is it gonna hold me? And I remember, I know, isn't that fucked? I told you guys it was gonna get real. But I remember going to a dinner once with my friends, and it was like this 4-hour dinner, and all my friends are really, really like tiny. And that's another thing. I never made friends with any other big people because I was like, I don't want to be seen with any other one who looks like me. Because then people will just go, "Look at those group of fat people." And I never wanted that. Even though I was big, I would never date a big guy. I'm like, "Ugh, look at that guy with that fat ass." How fucked is that? How fucked? It's like on those old school talk shows where you'd see like a black person be like, "I'm part of the KKK," and you're like, "Bro, they don't want you." And like, I don't know what you're doing. But it was fucked, right? And I was like that. I remember going to a dinner with my friends, right? So they're all super skinny. There's like 5 chairs. None of them have arms except for one chair. They all take the armless chairs, and I'm stuck with the armchair, and I'm going, this is not gonna be good. And I didn't want to tell them. I was so embarrassed to tell them that I couldn't fit in this chair. I sat in there for 4 hours and ate, and it dug into me so hard that I had bruises for 2 weeks. Isn't that fucked? That is the kind of shit that like I think people can't grasp as somebody who is bigger. Like the shit you go through, it's death by 1,000 cuts. Like it is those little moments. Or like you go out shopping, your friends are like, "Let's go to Zara." I'm like, "Cool, I'll look at purses again. That should be fun. Those fit me. Those are the only thing in the store that fits me." Or like you go over to your friend's house, like, "Oh, just stay the night. You can borrow some pajamas." I'm like, I would literally, my asshole would swallow your trousers. Like that's not fucking happening, girl. And just like, I don't know if it's obliviousness or whatever, right? And they don't even mean it, but they're not aware of like what's all happening, and it's just fucking hard. So I was like, I don't know what to do about this. And some people are like, "Just lose weight, just like diet and exercise." Oh, well, is it that easy? Is that why it's like a $1 industry? Because it's so fucking easy to lose weight? And people who just go, "Yeah, just diet, like lose weight, whatever." And this is how I sort of describe it, right? If you were £500,000 in debt, right? £500,000 is a lot of fucking money to a lot of people, right? And someone just goes, "Why don't you just start like making your lunch and like being careful with your spending?" What the fuck, man? You're not gonna get anywhere with that fucking debt, right? But if someone went, "I'll pay 400 grand off for you, but then you have to do the rest," you'd go, "Okay, I can see a light at the end of this tunnel. I could fucking do that," right? So I was like, that's what I need to do. I needed to do something super drastic to change my life. So I decided to have weight loss surgery. And a lot of people go, "Oh, that's the easy way out. That's the easy way out." Yeah, man. And what? And who gives a shit? Since when did the easy way out become the wrong way? I think about this, like, could you imagine, like, you have a kid and everyone goes, oh, I just want them to be healthy. Why? That's the easy way out. If your kid has cancer and is struggling for years, that'll show your kid you really love them if you stick by them. You want to take the easy way out with a healthy baby? Not much of a parent, are you, hey? Like, it's fucked. What is wrong with the easy way out? And trust me, man, surgery was not the fucking easy way out. They removed 80% of my stomach. I did not tell a single soul that I knew. I did not tell members of my family or my friends. And in the middle of the pandemic, I was just at such a low. I found myself over here with no comedy, no friends, no family, and I couldn't run from it anymore. I literally couldn't run because it's too fucking big. I'd get fucking winded going to the refrigerator. Like, it was like, I could not do it. And I was like, I need to do something, so I need to go have this surgery. So I booked it, didn't tell anyone, flew to Turkey in the middle of a pandemic. And when you're bigger, like, surgery is super dangerous, one. I was on 4 blood pressure medications, which is crazy, in my 30s. It's wild. That's like grandma shit, right? And then, like, I was going to a foreign country in the middle of a global pandemic and going, if I get COVID, I could end up easily in the ICU and die. Easily. But I was going, I didn't have some suicide wish, but I did not want to live any longer as I was. Like, I could not handle that anymore. I don't know if anyone can relate to that, where you're just going, you're in this place where whatever needs to change and you're willing to literally risk it all, right? And I had to go all in and completely risk it all. And I genuinely thought I was going to die. I left a book on my desk of all my passwords and my banking info and everything, like my Facebook. Like, who wants my fucking Facebook, right? Who wants? Do you know you can will your Facebook to somebody? How wild. So if you die, they inherit, like, your Instagram and Facebook and stuff. So as if my brother wants my pictures, like my selfies of, like, fucking 2012, right? Like, who wants that shit? But you can do that. And I had all this stuff laid out, and I was fully prepared to die. And I decided, like, let me take a page out of my grandma's book here and write myself a letter of all the ways I've disappointed myself before I go in for this surgery. Yeah, it's fucked. There's this site called Future Me, and you can write yourself a letter into the future, and you can send it, like, whatever date you want, a year, 5 years, 10 years. You could do it. Some people do it for fun. You can read anonymous posts on there and stuff. It's really cool. So I decided I'm going to send myself a letter 1 year into the future after the day of my surgery, and if I make it, I'll read it. And if I don't, no one will read it, so it doesn't really fucking matter, right? And I wrote myself all the ways in which I'd fucking fucked up and let myself down and disappointed me, a la Barron family style, making my grandma proud, outlining all the ways in which I disappointed. It was fucked too, because as I was being wheeled into surgery, I was, like, bawling hysterically. I was so sad. And I was like, oh my God, my parents are gonna find out I died, and they'll be like, what happened to her? Like, oh, she was in Turkey? Why the fuck was she in Turkey? She really lied. You eating a turkey? Like, is that what you meant? Like, and while I was being rolled in, this really lovely nurse, he came up to me and he's like, you gotta calm down, because if you go in all anxious, you'll come out all anxious. It's really not good for you. And he was trying to be sweet, and he's, like, trying to teach me Turkish, and he's like, say, like, Maharaba. It means, I'm like, bro, I do not have time to learn a language right now. I'm really fucking stressed out. You gotta leave me alone. But long story short, I did not die. I made it, yes, made it out of the surgery. Oh, I love only a few people clap that I'm alive. No. But that's the thing. But I think, so I didn't die, and I made it out and everything. One of my fears, though, is, like, what happens if I fucking gain it all back, right? What happens? I'm afraid that people are going to come see this show in Edinburgh and go, oh, what was that show about? And they go, oh, just fucking some fat girl complaining, right? Or, like, press will review me, and they'll just be like, former fat girl says a couple dick jokes. Like, they'll boil the entire show down to that. Or I'm also really afraid as well that somebody who's bigger will come see my show and go, I feel like shit about myself. Because the thing is, this isn't for everyone. There's a fucking risky thing I did, and it's really fucking hard. And all I want to say, basically, is that, like, I took a fucking big risk in doing this, and it did pay off. It doesn't always. People do die during this surgery, right? And I guess all I want people to really realize is that like the shit I put myself through now after therapy and doing all this stuff to myself and really working on my mental health with it, I realized that my outsides were just a reflection of my insides and my mental health, right? For me, I was wearing my mental health on the outside. I hadn't dealt with it, right? And I hadn't dealt with like some trauma and some other shit like that. But that's not like it for everyone. And not everyone needs to lose weight and not everyone needs to do whatever. You just gotta fucking do you and whatever makes you happy. Because no one's gonna be fucking happy, right? Someone's always gonna have something to say. The same people who told me I was too fat and to lose weight are now telling me, don't you have loose skin though? Don't you have some like, you know, the arms? I'm like, yeah, bitch, I use my fucking bat wings to fly away from cunts like you. Like, those are the fucking people that like, could you imagine somebody has open heart surgery and they go, oh, it saved my life. Yeah, but the scar, woo. Like it's wild, right? Someone's always gonna have something to say. So I just think like, man, if I've learned anything, it's life is too fucking short. And we all know this from COVID and all this stuff. Like life is too fucking short to do this. But yeah, I did therapy. How many people here have done therapy? Oh, a lot. Okay, shit. Okay, that's really good. Usually in the UK, they're like, we drink, fuck off. Like, just, we don't fucking do that. And like, now that I've done therapy, I want to date different types of people now, right? Because I have more self-esteem. I think of myself proud. I'm like, I've been through a fucking lot, right? I don't want to date some piece of shit who wouldn't have dated me bigger, right? I don't want to date somebody who, what if I do gain back the weight? Or what if they look at me going, oh, you got there in the first place? And instead of seeing it as a strength that I got here, they see it as a weakness that I was there to begin with, right? So I was like, I need to figure out who I want to date. And I like wanted to date somebody like really emotionally connected to me and emotionally mature. But I think I swung the pendulum like too far in that direction because I found myself in an emotional booty call situation. Has anyone ever had this happen before? It is a fucking wild situation because a booty call is like someone texts you and they go, hey, you up? And then they come over and fuck you, right? Like not well, but you got to clean the pipes out. So you just got to do what you got to do sometimes. Especially if you've just had like a fresh wax or something, like I'm not letting that go to waste. Absolutely fucking not. I'm like slippery as a dolphin. You're fucking me tonight for sure. But then he would text me and be like, hey, you up? I want to tell you about my day. I'm like, yeah, what? What is fucking right? He would literally come over the entire time we were dating. We did not have sex one single time. He'd just go, yeah, work was really hard today. And I'm still not talking to my mom. Okay. Do you maybe want to treat me like a bowling ball for a couple of minutes here? Can you put like 3 fingers in me at the very least while you tell me this awful fucking story of your shitty fucking life? How about that? And he wanted me to be like, you know, because I'm like a woman, so I'm supposed to be maternal. But you guys know I'm fucking somebody's stepdad, right? So like, he's like, what do you think I should do? Honestly, man, kill yourself. Like your life sounds awful, and I'm not sucking your dick, so double homicide that shit. Like, absolutely not. My therapist was really good too. She made me think about like all the deal breakers, right? And like there's obvious ones. You know, you should never fuck with people who they're racist, if they're homophobic, if she wears Pandora jewelry. Ugh. Disgusting humans, right? They don't, or like live, laugh, love signs. Ugh. Those people don't deserve to come. Don't fuck with them, right? But Shik, you really got to think about your deal breakers, right? What you want in somebody. And I'm like, I don't know. And I asked a friend of mine, I'm like, what are some of your deal breakers? And she went, ugh, short men and bald men. I would not fuck them. And I was like, girl, that's very aggressive. I don't see a lineup of men looking to fuck you either. Like, holy shit, right? I don't know where this thing came from, but not fucking short men. Fuck the short men. I am telling you, they will make you come. I have never fucked a tiny tot that hasn't, it sounds like a child, it's an adult man. A tiny adult man. I've never fucked one that hasn't made me come. They're so grateful just to be invited to the fucking party. They work their little butts off. And you're like, it's adorable. And you want your tits to look huge? They have the tiniest little hands. They're like this. I don't know. This fucking, get down there. She's like, you can't be serious. You'd honestly fuck a short guy? I'm like, yeah, bitch. Try to convince me that Snow White cooked and cleaned every single day for those 7 little fucks without Grumpy licking her pussy once in a while? Absolutely not. Oh my God. Bald guys, bald's the same. I don't know why. Bald is beautiful. Bald men have more testosterone. They take fucking 2 minutes in the shower and they don't use your nice, expensive, like, Olaplex conditioner and shampoo. Why would you fucking want to date that, right? And funny things can happen in the bedroom. I once had a bald guy going down on me and I went to put my hand on the back of his head, but he was sweating and my hand slipped and I ended up holding him like a bowling ball. I thought it was the funniest fucking thing I had ever experienced in my life. He did not. He was like, don't use that on stage. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. For sure. Those are my deal breakers. My deal breakers are the kind that you don't think of, but as soon as I say them, you'd be like, oh, fuck. Men with long fingernails. Exactly. You can feel that in your pussy, right? Men, I don't know what it is. Lesbians don't have long nails. The porn ones do. They're not real lesbians. Real fucking lesbians do not have long nails. It's awful. We just look at that and be like, ouch, that's gonna scratch us. You know how people are like, oh my God, nails on a chalkboard. Imagine how it feels to be the fucking chalkboard. It's awful. Just cut your nails, guys. Another one of my deal breakers that I cannot stand. I'm like, oh, fuck. I can't even say it. It's so gross. It's men who wear those transition glasses. You know, the kind that are the glasses, sunglasses combo in one? Oh, God. Those things are it's disgusting. Your mom has them? I've never met a woman with them. Oh, my God. I just thought they were invented to be male birth control. So the only time I'd ever sit on the face of a man who was wearing those fucking glasses would be to smother him to death. Because, what is your mom? So she walks around looking like a pedophile and she's cool with that? Jesus, you should accidentally stomp on them and save us all. Because have you ever seen them fully transition? They take like 4 or 5 years to fully transition into the fucking light. God, and she thinks this is a good idea.
She's like, I always have my sunglasses with me.
Girl, no. That's like carrying around a bucket and be like, I always got a toilet with me. I mean, I guess in theory it's fucking true, but like, bro, no. Oh, no. Please tell her from me I hate her and she should fucking throw them out. Tell her you spoke to a comedian. First tell her you got the comedian's name tattooed. You and your boyfriend got my name tattooed on you. But then stomp on her glasses and tell her Kate Barron says so. But my biggest deal breaker of all time, is men who wear clothes when they fuck you. The men who are too lazy to take it off. You do look like a little bit of a t-shirt fucker, I'm not gonna lie to you. Do you know what I mean? The kind that just like they lift up their shirt a little bit and they go like... We've all been fucked by that guy. And I'm like, bro, your dick's inside me. Like, I see you have man tits. I used to have them too. Take your fucking shirt off, right? But that is not the worst article of clothing men leave on. What is it? It's the fuck. So if you know it, why do you do it? That's what you yelled it out. I bet you fucking leave your socks. She's nodding, saying you do. They're for fun. Who are they fucking fun for? Dude, your white tube socks aren't making us wet. Like, oh, are your feet cold when you're fucking a woman? Your feet are cold. Why don't you fuck me like a fucking caveman? How about that? Fuck me like a real man. I swear to God, I give one guy, like, I'll give a guy one opportunity. And I'm like, babe, you take your socks off? And if he doesn't listen to me, I go to my closet, I get my Mickey Mouse gloves, and I will give him the hand job of his fucking nightmares. Those are gigantic. Your dick will look this big, and I will fucking draw it out so it becomes one of those awful, impactful memories that sit in the back of your head that you will never, ever be able to forget in your entire life. And it just implants in there, and you won't know when it pops up. So like 20 years from now, you'll be with your wife and your kids walking through Disney World, and Mickey Mouse walks by and is like, hey guys, how's it going? And you're gonna get hard and start crying. I'm like, that was me, motherfucker. Take your fucking socks off. Yeah, that's it, guys. You guys have been amazing. So lovely. So I really appreciate you guys all coming. I'm working on the show for Edinburgh. The one part I'm sure a lot of people want to hear is that letter that I wrote to myself. If you come, oh, that is a good idea. If you come to Edinburgh, you're going to hear it. Or if you come to one of my later previews, you'll hear that letter. So that letter is going to be in there. So it's going to be what you just saw, like a tighter version. I would love it if you guys came to Edinburgh. Come in, come for free. Be like, I saw you before. We fucking love you. We got your name tattooed on us. And that would be amazing. And you guys have been fantastic. I seriously appreciate this so much. I will be out there with a bucket. They make us do the whole like begging for money. There's like a card reader. If you want to throw some money in or tap your card, that's cool. Edinburgh is really fucking expensive. If you don't, whatever. It's all good. I really appreciate you guys coming. Have a great rest of your night, you guys. Thank you so much.